this actually happened just this week. I was at the lake by my house. Like you're with your friends, you're walking by the lake, you want to smoke a joint, not by any kids or anything. Like we kind of go off to the side. And then there's actually two bylaw officers that walked past and they're like, oh, what is that?
Hi babes, Lady Silverstone here, and welcome to my podcast, where we're trying to demystify cannabis, one conversation at a time. In this episode, we're talking about what life's like in legalized Canada, how to create cannabis events, and a bag of chips with our guest today. She's a business analyst and a cannabis advocate who has organized a classy event for the community in Canada called HiiighVibes, and she has appeared on several media outlets, including one of the biggest, the Canadian Press. Let's welcome Natalia. I hope you enjoy it. Hey babe, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Misha?
I'm good. Lovely hair.
Oh, thank you.
First off, I really want to say thank you for joining my podcast this early in the morning as well. Good morning.
Good morning. Good evening, I should say to you.
Thanks. Oh, wow. Yeah. It's 5 o'clock here, so it's fine.
That's good. I had to get up for work early anyways, so this is a nice way to break up the day. I have a day job, so I'm a business analyst, and I work for a college here. And so, with the whole COVID situation, I've been working from home. So my morning routine is kind of like waking up first thing in the morning is usually around like 6:37. It's really important for me to do a meditation or just to like take care of myself,
Yeah.
So I do that kind of first thing in the morning, make sure that like I kind of get my head in the right frame, the right space. I know like the first thing I say to myself in the morning is like a positive mantra, something to the effect of like, it's a great day to be alive. I'm so grateful for what I have. Blessed be, like, some kind of positive affirmation. And then that just like starts the day off on a great note. So.
That is really nice. Yeah. Have you done it for a long time?
I have. I've been doing it since 2017. And now I find it's almost like it's pretty easy, except if I like sleep through my alarm or something like that. Cause then usually it's like, the mantra of the day is then fuck. Right?
Fuck, I'm late.
Yeah. And you know how it is. It's like one bad thing happens and then it's like boom, 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 a bunch of different things. You hit every red light.
You just feel so out of your routine. You're like, oh my God, now just everything will roll like in this bad like spiral. Yeah.
You know the feeling.
Yes. I would love an introduction of you, like the long version.
So my name's Natalia. I have a page called HiiiVibes, HiiiVibe and High Tea Party on Instagram. You can follow me there. How you spell HiiiVibes is HiiiGhVibes. And I started my journey with cannabis, and I was actually like terrified to come out of the cannabis closet because of what my parents would think, what my friends would think, what it would do to my professional reputation, that kind of thing. So it took me like a really long time to get out of the cannabis closet, but I'm really grateful that I did. I had to start talking and advocating about cannabis, and really, I wanted to do it from a different perspective. I started my page in 2017.
Okay.
So, cannabis, especially in Canada, has come a long ways since 2017. We've legalized cannabis in 2018. We had edibles come available in 2019. So, these things are like, we're really just starting to see the momentum that the cannabis industry has here in Canada. So I wanted to take the stigma of cannabis and we really don't need any more stereotypes. I think that we already can have bros playing video games in their basements, smoking weed together, and we can still have like babes with their bikinis smoking their bongs. But I really wanted to show something else. I wanted to show like the classier side of cannabis, which is why I created high tea parties. And I just wanted to normalize it. And you can invite your grandma to a high tea party, and it's choose your own adventure. If you want to have just CBD, if you want to have CBD and THC, if you don't want to have any of it, you don't have to have any of it. It's just a place to normalize and consume cannabis in a classy way.
When did you start high tea specifically? Did you start at the same time you started your page? Or was that like something that came after a while that you're like, oh, actually we should have this thing? And is it specifically for women as well?
Yeah. So I'll answer those questions. The high tea is I started about 6 months after my page, when I realized that like we needed community, like it's one thing to have an online community. It's another thing to like really meet new people and have friends. And so that's why I created the high tea. So about 6 months after I started my page, I actually hosted the first high tea in my backyard.
Oh, nice.
It was so much fun.
So how did you prepare for like the first high tea party? Were you a bit nervous? Was it only people you knew, or was there a lot of people that you have connected with through Instagram only?
So I did put it out there to people that I connected with on Instagram. So there was some people that I had never met in person before, and here I'm inviting them into my backyard and into my home. But it was so much fun, like I definitely don't regret any of it. It was a good group of people. I think we had 13 or so people at the first event. So it was a good turnout, I thought. And it's not just for women, I've always had men come to the high teas, and they actually have a lot of fun too. Like it's nice for them to dress up and yeah, just be around people who are like-minded and open-minded. I actually had a gentleman who's like in his 60s come to high tea, and he had so much fun. So I love that it's something that can be for anybody to come, but it's like I said, it's just I wanted to normalize it and make it more classy. So, you know, get dressed up and wear something fancy and come to a high tea party.
And I've seen the pictures. They're so pretty. It looks, very like fairy tale, a little bit like Alice in Wonderland. I'm like, oh, I really want to be there.
One day, I'm telling you, we're going to have a high tea in Europe. It's going to be awesome.
Oh my gosh, yes. Have you already thought about it before?
Yes, I have. I actually studied in Barcelona when I did like an Erasmus. So I just did like a study abroad for 6 months. And I had so much fun in Barcelona. It's my favorite city in the world. So I'm like, okay, let's do it again. Let's bring it there. I know Barcelona has like a huge cannabis culture and, lots of different lounges and things like that to go and enjoy.
Yeah. Which year did you go study in Barcelona?
I started in 2013, 2014.
Okay, so not too long ago, but still...
Still a while ago. And you know what? It's funny because I wasn't a really big cannabis user then. And then now I'm like regretting that I never went to all of those lounges. And I'll get to relive it another time, so that'll be good.
If you would have like the high tea event in Europe, it would definitely be in Barcelona, right?
I'm thinking Barcelona because I have experience, in that city. Also, I speak the language, which is really handy. But if there was a company that was like, let's do high teas all over Europe, I'd be like, let's do it. I'm open to the possibilities, and that's the thing is like I love high tea, but I'm not about to like explode it and make it really big without making sure that it's kept its integrity. Like it still has to be about community. It still has to be about people coming together. It has to have that high class kind of feel to it. I want to make sure that you come and you have goodies that you would want to have at high tea. So we have like the little cucumber sandwiches and little cookies and that type of thing to give you the feel of it.
So nice. It would be so perfect to have here as well. And especially I'm thinking Spain as well, because here is like the only place at the moment where it's like kind of okay to use weed. The rest, if you would have like a really, really private event, I guess you could have it like elsewhere, but then it would only be able to be like CBD if you would have it in like France or Germany or something like that. But when it comes to like being able to do both, then definitely Spain. So, but I mean, Spain is big. You could do it in Ibiza or in Marbella or Barcelona you could do it anywhere in Spain, and Spain is so beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I'm like 6 hours south from Barcelona.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, so you do live in Spain, but you're originally Swedish. That's cool.
Too cold, too dark, and also the cannabis scene over there is, it's still heavily punished if you get caught with weed.
That's interesting. Because, you always, like, especially, like, North Americans always think of, like, Sweden as being, and like a lot of the Scandinavian countries, as being like very open and very accepting, right? So it's interesting for me to hear that, because you know I'm just like so passionate about plant medicine and about how cannabis has helped me, that I just want it to be normal, to be destigmatized, so that nobody has to be seen as like a dirty pothead anymore.
Before I started Lady Silverstone, I'm like, okay, so I only gonna take like photos, because as you know, your Instagram is super pretty as well. Like when it comes to like content creation of the plant itself. I mean, you can do so many pretty visuals with only the plant, whether it's the buds or the joint.
That's what got my eye with your page, is your content creation and how beautiful it is.
Oh, thank you so much. But I mean, it's also because like it's so pretty. Like it is so pretty by itself. You get super inspired, right?
Yeah.
And then the meaning behind it as well. I mean, just the way it can make people feel, and the way it can like change people's lives, it really can in so many ways. And I do think, and that's what I was thinking, like females, we have so many uses of cannabis that guys don't have. Like, sure,
yes,
of course they have their things. They also have anxiety. They also have need to chill down, and they also have pain in their bodies. But we have something that comes back month after month after month. And it's not only the pain. It's also like, I mean, my mood swings are not to play with, They are to be taken very seriously,
So have you hacked it where you do certain things on certain times of the month? Like, I know, like the day, this may be TMI, but like the day that, it comes, I'm like, I can feel the testosterone in my body. I can feel that I'm like super driven, and that I have like things to say. And so I really try and channel that into like healthy resources, And so okay, that thing you've been avoiding for a really long time, maybe today is the day that you sit down and you do it, instead of me like, calling on my boyfriend and like yelling at him.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, yeah. Then I found writing is really good for me, actually, when I have that like fire inside me, when I'm just angry at everything that is like, I'm just like, yeah, exactly. So I think that is really good. And like you said, just try to channel it to like something that can actually either make a difference, but also like for you to at least, just get out that, like, whether it's anger, frustration, just on something that can actually, be fruitful one day, probably. Because again, yelling at your boyfriend is never fruitful, not for yourself, not for the relationship, nothing. Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. So no, it's good. So I think that like women's place in this industry is so strong and so, important as well. I guess in Sweden they still think that you're just sitting on the couch without a job and without like a purpose in life if you smoke pot, which is so crazy, because like I felt that when I started to like use cannabis in a like very conscious way, instead of just doing it at parties when I was already drunk, like that I stopped doing, because I realized that like that's just a waste of like cannabis. If you're already drunk, like you don't want to mix that. It's not even nice.
No.
So starting like using it by itself and so on, I mean, that changes everything, and it changes like the way, you just see life and what you want to do with it and what you want to bring to it as well, And so like this whole, couch lover with a chips bag and the unwashed clothes, like that is so, I don't know anyone like that.
No. I mean, like, I know a few people like that, but it's definitely like, I don't associate myself with those people very often, just because, that's not who I want to be. But I think what you said is so true about like the couch and the bag of chips. I can tell you, like, people have this mindset of like the stigma around cannabis, and like there's so many bad things that can happen to you if you get too high, or if you do cannabis, the whole reefer madness. And for me, it's like the worst thing that ever happened to me on cannabis was being discriminated against for using cannabis. But aside from that, was like being elbow deep in a bag of chips. That's the worst thing that ever happened.
I know. And you get just greasy and you're like, oh no.
Where did this bag of chips go?
Yes. And then the really worst part is that like you might fall asleep and like miss the party. You know, that's it. That's the worst case scenario most of the times, you know?
It's funny because I feel like I'm that friend that smokes weed at the party. And then, so like other people will smoke with me, but I think a lot of people drink, where I would rather just smoke weed or like do an edible and smoke weed and then be at the party. And so I'm one of those people that's like, I'm very relaxed. I'm very chilled out. I'll probably be like sitting at the fire, like enjoying myself while, you know, other people are like drunk or they're trying to like it's almost like people don't realize that like, no, it's not that weed makes me tired. It's that weed makes me feel like calm and relaxed. And that's not the same as tired. I think a lot of people don't even know what relaxed feels like because we are living this like go, 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 fast paced life.
Oh, definitely. I think it's really pinpoint what you're saying. They associate it directly with being tired. And that's so not it.
It's just relaxed, calm, in tune with nature, in tune with the flow. You know, like nature doesn't move at that fast paced race that we do, right? So when we kind of come back and we realize from that perspective that, you know, the trees whistle or the leaves blow through the trees very slow and the creek and the river flows very slow. That's the pace of life. Not we try to, you know, 8 o'clock, get up, get into your car, go to work, go, 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 5 o'clock, come home, eat dinner. That's not a life.
Yeah. So like now your job, your day job, is it also like a proper like 9 to 5? Was it that before you started working from home?
Yeah, it is pretty much like a 9 to 5. I live about 45 minutes away from where I work. Thankfully just on the highway, so it's not, you know, through the city or anything like that. But you know, that's the thing is like by the time you put in the commute, the full day at work, the commute back, you know, it would sometimes be almost like a 9-hour day.
Yeah.
By the time you factor all of that in, right? So now it's really nice that my commute is like from my bedroom to the kitchen table.
Perfect.
Right? And so
yes.
I know it is perfect. And thankfully Mary is allowed to be with me here, you know, like at work, not so much. Like I'm a big advocate for CBD. I use CBD every day in some way or another because I don't want to be so high that I'm like a pie in the sky and you know, like I don't want to be so high that I'm not in touch with reality.
No.
You know, sometimes on the weekends, Saturday night, sure, maybe that's how I want to feel. But 9 times out of 10, that's not how I want to feel.
No.
So I use THC and CBD every day together in some way. And I find that they really work well together. And then that way I'm not, because, you know, CBD can counter effects the effects of THC. So that way I feel like I'm not so stoned. I want to be able to do my job well. You know, like as a business analyst, I have to be cognitively there. You know, I make important decisions. I'm working in spreadsheets. I'm working with numbers. I'm working with people. You know, my job is pretty important in that sense that I can't, you know, be stoned and like at work.
Yeah.
Right. So the high functioning aspect for me is really important. And I'm so grateful for CBD for giving me that.
Sorry for interrupting. I hope you enjoy listening so far. Please check out my account Lady Silverstone at patreon.com so I can continue creating cannabis content for you. How was your initial relationship to cannabis? Because, for example, for me, like I discovered CBD last year, like for the first time, and now I don't go a day without using it along with my THC.
As you, I tried THC first, and then I think like CBD is almost getting this like wave of like it's trendy. People know that it works. You don't get high off of it, so I feel like CBD is like the next big thing if it's not already the next big thing. But yeah, I was like you. My relationship with cannabis actually started pretty late. I was 19 when I first tried cannabis. I think most people kind of tried in high school and stuff, but I was like a really good girl, so I didn't. And like I held the stigma that I had against cannabis once, like that people have, like I had friends that were guys that were playing video games in their basement, and I was like, nah, that's not me, It was interesting for me. Like as soon as I did try it, I realized how conscious expanding it is. Cannabis is this plant that has this amazing power to make you realize that you are connected with everything. You are one cog in the wheel of life, of the universe, right? And it's amazing that plant can give you that, So the first time I ever tried cannabis, the worst thing that ever happened to me happened that time. I ate a whole bag of chips. And then, I would try it occasionally at parties here in Canada, especially in the summer, because I feel like Sweden and Canada have a lot of similarities in the sense that in the winter it's very dark, it's cold, it's it's hard in those months. But in the summer we really live it up, right? Like
totally
summertime, we're all alive. Yes. So I would smoke with friends around the campfire, and honestly, that's like the best way to spend a weekend in my mind. Is I just want to be with my friends, sitting around the campfire, smoking some weed, eating some food, enjoying the sunset. That sounds like a perfect night to me.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Yeah, definitely.
Right. So then I started doing that. I would start to smoke some weed with my friends around the campfire. And then it wasn't really until it was THC that I had like my vision and everything on, but it wasn't until I had started my page, and I probably tried CBD for the first time in 2018. So it was it's a nuance. It's something new. If you guys haven't tried CBD, absolutely try it. I really want to get everybody on the CBD train. My grandma, you need to try CBD. My dad, you need to try CBD. Everybody give it a go, because it's an incredible plant medicine that actually makes you build your own phytocannabinoids. It stimulates you to do the work that your body already has, the endocannabinoid system, to give you that balance, homeostasis that we all really need.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially to just be able to feel good. You can feel good, like, because in Sweden there's this like moral thing around cannabis. It's like, yeah, but because when I told my sister, for example, that I'm using weed and I totally cut down on alcohol, I mean, unless I'm going like to someone's birthday party or something like that, then sometimes I take a glass there. But otherwise, like, I don't like that. I don't like myself with alcohol even, And then she said, yeah, but why do you have to replace alcohol with a drug? And for me, that is like, so, I don't know, it's a bit dangerous to think that way, because then all of a sudden it becomes like a moral problem. Do you see what I mean? As if like, yes. Okay, wait. So it's okay if I get high and like, let's say fucked up by your drug of choice, but I cannot chill and relax with my drug of choice, And it becomes this thing as if like, yeah, alcohol is just, yeah, we decided as a society that alcohol is the drug of choice for the population, and just deal with it, which is crazy.
I hate when people compare alcohol and cannabis, because at the end of the day, alcohol has never helped anybody recover from anything. Alcohol has never helped reduce the amount of drugs that you need to use. Alcohol has never helped somebody with their well-being. This is where I'm like, cannabis has all of these medicinal applications. And so I really hate when people compare cannabis to other drugs like that. And here in Canada, we've started to normalize it. It's been legalized. So I think that, more people are like, oh, it's okay that like she would rather smoke than drink, because that's starting to come around. I can see that. But it's not totally fully there yet. And then I see sometimes people will compare it, like compares to cigarettes or compares to, cigarettes to marijuana. And it's like, no, like cigarettes has no benefit, where cannabis has so many incredible benefits. And this actually happened just this week. I was at the lake by my house, and like you're with your friends, you're walking by the lake, you want to smoke a joint, not by any kids or anything. Like we kind of go off to the side, and then there's actually two bylaw officers that walked past. And they're like, "Oh, what is that?" And I was like, just starting to light the joint. Like when you get like the little end, it's just a paper end at the end. So I was like, just starting to light that up. And only that had burned off. And I was like, "Look, it's not even lit. Like, don't give me a ticket or anything like that." So he wasn't going to give me a ticket.
Are you not allowed to smoke when you walk outside?
I think it's certain bylaws in certain places. That's what makes it challenging about Canada, is like every municipal, like every city can have its own laws on it. So the law here was that you can only smoke cannabis if you're at your residence in your home, but you can smoke cigarettes on the beach. It's not. And I even asked the question, well, I'm a medical patient. Then what? They're like, yeah, still only at your residence. Well, I'm visiting the lake. I don't have a residence at the lake.
Yeah.
Like I live 15 away. So I guess I can't smoke weed in that town unless I'm at someone's house and they've deemed it okay. Yeah. So it's not perfect. We've legalized it here, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Still a lot of work to be done. But
what are like the next steps you think after? So, I mean, are you the only country with like Venezuela that has fully legalized?
I think Uruguay or Paraguay.
Oh, I mean Uruguay, I think.
Decriminalized. Yeah. I think it is Uruguay. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the laws are in Amsterdam and in the Netherlands. But
yeah, it's not legal, but there's like in Spain, there's like loopholes. That we can go under, and that's why we managed to have like coffee shops and like in Spain the cannabis social clubs, but it's not legal.
Because I was going to say we don't have any social clubs or spaces like that, which makes it kind of a challenge for high tea. So most of the time when I end up hosting high teas, excuse me, I do it in residential spaces, just because again you're allowed to smoke in your own home or in your own residence. Outside or inside, right? So,
but don't you have? We've been seeing, but because that they have here in Spain, I think even in Europe, generally they have something called, is it bud and stay, something like that?
Oh, like an Airbnb kind of.
Yeah, but like cannabis friendly. Do they have that as well in Canada?
I think that they have that, but I haven't ever stayed at one, and I actually haven't seen like a lot of them online on Instagram or anything like that. So I'm not sure if like how that would work, because that again, there's some loopholes. One of the loopholes in Canada is you can gift cannabis, right? So I can gift you up to an ounce of cannabis, and there's no problem there as long as I'm not a company gifting it, because that's illegal.
Okay, so as long as you don't get money from the person as well, or can you get gifted money back?
No, I think that'd be a no. But again, like how many people, like I don't usually give cannabis to my friends with the cop standing right
there.
Not
an ounce, mama. Not an ounce.
Yeah, it's true. I have to really like you if that was the case.
Yeah.
Well, best buds.
Exactly. Best buds. No, but I was thinking otherwise that like that can be good, because how do you do it then for high tea? Is it then considered, because do you pay to go to a high tea? You pay like a little fee, and that is basically like for the residents and like the cookies and tea and stuff like that, and then the cannabis is some kind of extra, so they can never tell you that, but here you are selling weed. No, I'm just having weed here as a gift for the guests. Yeah,
exactly. So you pay a ticket for the event. At the event, I happen to have some, and I happen to give it to you there.
Okay, that's how it works. Yeah, and like that, you can never get into trouble.
Yeah, and like again, it's like one of those things that's like really fun. Like you don't have to smoke cannabis at the event, but I find that lots of times there is like the smoke pit kind of culture, and everybody's passing and having fun, and I'll bring out like the 2-foot bong, and people take rips off the 2-foot bong. Or I don't know if you've seen the My Bud vase. Have you seen those?
I'm not sure.
Online? They're really beautiful. They're like, they look like they could be a vase or that you could put flowers in, but it's actually a bong. Really cool. So that definitely like flows in with high tea, right? Is the like, let's make it look classy, but and I love that about the My Bud vase. Like your mom could come over and you could just put flowers in it. and she wouldn't really know unless she saw the bowl.
Yeah.
You know?
This is a beautiful place, honey. So, like, has anyone been like complete newbie when they come to one of your high teas?
Yes, definitely had some complete newbies. I can remember one time this lady was a newbie, and she came, and her friends were like, "Oh, you should do a dab," and she did a dab, and she was like, she nearly died. You know, like it's funny because we actually got this great photo of her like laying down on a bench, and she looks so chill and so like sunny, but like really she was actually like having a dab moment, you know. But this is also why I always have CBD on hand, because I want to make sure that people have fun at the event. So she was like, she had her little moment there. And like I said, we got the greatest photo. She looks amazing. Just chilled out. But then we gave her some CBD so that she could come back and have fun. Because if you haven't dabbed before and you do a big dab, you know, sometimes it's hard to gauge it or how to do it the first time. You know, it can be a really intense experience. I feel like dabbing is like almost like smoking weed for the first time all over again.
In what way? Like, in what way is it different? Because I never even tried like bong, really. I have tried, but I only coughed, and then I'm like, oh no, skipped it.
Not for you.
Yeah.
So the dabs are usually like the concentrated form, right? Like it's not a flower. It's usually pressed with heat or pressed with pressure, and then it's kind of the resin that comes out of the plant. I think that's what makes it a lot stronger, or you know, a lot more intense, is because it's just the pure resin, the pure medicine. But I mean, it's still safe to do. It's just, you know, maybe for the first time, make sure that you're in this company of people who can take care of you, and you know, you don't have to leave anywhere or anything like that, because it can have that like really psychoactive experience.
Obviously, I can imagine that it's different because it's the same. I mean, if you're used to vape or smoke and then you have an edible, I mean, that's also like a whole new experience in a way. Like, it's so different. And I mean, you giggle like the first time you tried cannabis, you know, which is so nice. Okay, so how many events have you actually had then?
I've had 6 high tea events.
Nice.
No, yeah. Oh. And more coming this summer. So Western Canada is doing a lot better on the COVID situation than Eastern Canada.
And you're on the west side.
I'm on the west side. So I'm going to be hosting one probably in my hometown. There's like this old historical building that's like from the 1800s. So I really want to do it in there and have like a high tea in there. And then probably one in Vancouver, looking at like July, August. And then hopefully if things start to clear up in Eastern Canada come the fall, then we can host another few high teas out there.
Oh, that's great. So nice. Good for you and everyone that can come. Super fun.
Oh, thank you. I hope you could come one day. We'll have to find a way to get you out here.
Oh, that would be really nice. So nice. But I will only come in the summer though.
Only come in the summer. And I was thinking you should come to Vancouver because there's definitely like a big weed culture there. I know like everybody talks about California weed, right? Like we all have heard about California weed, but BC bud is like the other one. You know, like
that is something else.
That is something else. So British Columbia in Canada is on the west side, and BC bud is...
All right. Very good to know. Well,
yeah, come for 420 next year or something like that, and you can come stay with me and my boyfriend, and we would love to have you as a guest. It's really fun because there's like 20 to 30,000 people on the beach, and it's like free. The cops can't touch you, right? Like it's just like, it's like a big farmer's market or like a big market just where people are like selling stuff, advocating stuff. And then I love this because it's like a hill and then the beach, and then that's where everybody is. Beach. So if you climb up to the hill at 4:19, it's like clear, and then by 4:21, it's like a big black cloud of like smoke.
I can see it in front of me almost.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Have you done that many years? Like, is that like a typical tradition there?
I've done 2 years now where I've gone to 420, but it is a typical tradition, and they have like really cool guests that come out. So this year didn't happen because of COVID, but the year before that, they had Mixmaster Mike from the Beastie Boys. He was like DJing on the stage, which was really cool. And then Cypress Hill was like they're the rap group, right? And they came and they have so many songs, you know, like Hits from the Bong, Rockstar. Like it was just awesome.
Oh, I can imagine. That sounds like a very chilled event as well. Yeah, I just don't understand how come there's no more people that have or countries that have just followed those footsteps.
I think it's because we haven't totally figured it out yet. I think that's it. I think, you know, they're almost kind of letting Canada be the scapegoat or the testing one, you know, to figure it out the hard way. And, you know, like I'll be honest, we have cannabis that's legalized, and then we have like the legacy market or the black market that was thriving before legalization. And is still thriving after legalization. So we still, you know, we have almost like corporate big cannabis. And then we have like the growers and the people who've been in the industry 20, 30 years that have got us this far. And they're still doing their businesses and you know, they're still doing really well. So I think even though we've legalized cannabis, we haven't decriminalized cannabis.
Really? How is that possible?
So again, like talking about the black market and stuff like that, like the way that the legal market is set up is it's like if you're one of these 15 companies and these 15 rich guys that can afford millions of dollars to put in the infrastructure, to have a big grow up, to have the lights, to get all the licensing, to go through all the proper channels and procedures and, you know, the lawyers and all of that. That's the legal market in Canada. And then there is a lot of like the homegrown underground market. And like I said, the lasting legacy market that got us this far. And they're still doing really well too. There's challenges with the Cannabis Act. You can't really market cannabis. You can't market it to children. It can't be attractive to children. You know, we don't have gummy bears here because that might be attractive to kids. There's still a lot of points that we have to figure out. And I'm actually a big advocate for the legacy market and the people who have gotten us here, who have those 20, 30 years worth of knowledge to build the market up to where it is now. And those people can still get fined and go to jail and all this stuff because they haven't jumped through the hoops and the millions of dollars to be a legal entity.
And that is almost important for someone that has spent, like you say, like 30 years in that business. It's not like you make millions of dollars on that. If you're a farmer, you know, if you're a farmer, you're a farmer.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter if you're a cannabis farmer or like a egg farmer, you know, a chicken farmer. In the end, I mean, there's no millions in that. How are you even going to be able to do that if you're a farmer?
Exactly. And then you think you have to process it after and all that stuff when you're a farmer. And it almost like makes it impossible for an entrepreneur to make money in the cannabis industry in Canada. And that's so sad because, you know, we live in a free market economy. I'm not pro-capitalism, I'm pro-circle economy and, you know, money coming back into the economy. But it's one of those things like if you can't even be an entrepreneur and have your own cannabis business in Canada, did we really legalize
That's
it?
the thing, yeah. It's weird. It's true, like you said, I haven't even thought about that. Like all these years that they have been standing on the streets fighting for their right to grow, for example, and this is what they get.
It's not okay. And then you think about it, like a lot of these people are patients and going through the legal industry, I can't afford my medication at that rate, at those prices. You know, we're talking about $10 to $14 a gram minimum, you know? So quite high versus like the legal market, I can maybe get like $7 to $13 a gram, you know, and also the quality is not the same as the legal market versus the legacy market. One example is I bought a can from the store here and it's 10 months old. I could go to the farmer and get it fresh, right? Like that makes a difference. That makes a huge difference.
Yeah. Okay. So they definitely haven't figured out. There's a lot of things that needs to be taken into account. But yeah, there's so many small things. Getting all those things to fit into this thing where it's like legal cannabis, it's going to take years.
Absolutely. And I hope that, you know, it's been 2 years that the legal market has been there. So I'm hoping that we'll start to realize like, hey, these people have a lot of experience and these people come with a lot of knowledge and these people were doing it before we were. Maybe we should be incorporating them into this, you know, and doing a better job of the stakeholder engagement, making it more accessible, more normal for people. But I think it's going to take a little while. Like I said, even edibles, cannabis was legal in 2018 in Canada. We didn't get edibles until December last year. And even then, they're 10 milligrams at the highest dose, which is good for like people. I can understand like the mentality of like wanting to keep people safe. If we have too high of an edible, then people could overdo it. But then I think about the medical people again, and I think 10 milligrams is not going to cut it.
Dear listeners, if you like what you hear, please check out my Patreon. The link is in the description here below. Only if you're able to, of course. Now, let's get back to our guest. But like you say, yes, for the biggest part of the population, yes, it will probably be enough with the 10 milligram. Like, it's even great for probably someone like you and me, but someone with severe back pain, for example, no. But can't they do that? Like, can't they have that prescribed? Anything that is above 10, can't that be on prescription?
The legal companies just aren't making anything more than 10 milligrams.
So even the medical companies aren't.
I had a headache last week. A lot of tension in my neck and my back from working from home. And, we've been cut down from a 5-day work week to a 4-day work week right now. So just feeling a lot of tension. I went to the legal store and I bought a 10 milligram edible, and it didn't even touch my pain or anything like that, right? So thankfully, I had some other edibles from home, and they were more affordable, so I could eat more than one 10 milligram edible. I ended up eating 80 milligrams before my headache went away. If I would have bought that all at the legal market, it would have been $80 to get rid of my headache.
It's insane.
Right?
Oh my gosh, wait.
So, it's one of those things where like we got a long way to go still. We got to still figure it out. And that's why I'm a really big advocate for cannabis, period, whether it's legal market or the legacy market, because I want it to be normalized. I want it to be accepted for the average person. If you need 80 milligrams, that should be accessible to you. And some people even need more. Some people need hundreds of milligrams for, I have one friend, she has Crohn's, she has really bad stomach issues. She eats hundreds of milligrams of edibles just to be normal in a day.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry for people that like really can't like live without it. And they are the ones that has to like deal with all these like crappy laws. And it just doesn't work for them. It's really sad to see that part of the population that just gets forgotten.
Yes. And it's usually, again, because of money, right? It's, you can't afford to do that. Maybe if you're renting a place, your landlord's not going to let you grow your own. It's almost like those people, it's really hard to get out of that. Yeah. It's really hard to climb out of that, especially if you are somebody who has a lot of pain. And you're maybe not working because you have that pain.
You are allowed to grow then?
Yes. You can grow up to 4 plants in your own house now.
Okay. Per person, or like if you live together with someone, you can have 8?
You can have 4 in a household. Okay. So if you and your boyfriend wanted to grow, it doesn't matter that you want to grow 4 plants and he wants to grow 4 plants, because you're in the same household, you can only grow 4 plants.
Okay.
Total. This is one of the good things about the legal market in Canada and with the medical. You can get a license to grow more than that, especially if you do have a higher dosage, or that is really good. And the plant has so many amazing benefits, right? Like a lot of us think about the buds and smoking the buds, but the trim you can use for topicals. Again, we were mentioning about like women pain. Topicals are everything for women's pain. I put it on my back, I put it on my stomach, like anywhere where I'm having this kind of cramps. I'll even put some on a tampon, and that's like very effective, right?
Also on like my boobs when they get, all sore. Super good. Oh. Yeah, when I tried that, I'm like, this is awesome. It can really change like especially us women. I mean, because dealing with this every month, it's just not okay to like have to deal with it.
It's excruciating. It can be so difficult, debilitating sometimes, the pain. So, oh my gosh, such a good conversation we've had.
So nice. Okay, so I have a last question then. Like, how did you come out to your parents?
Oh, right. How did I come out to my parents? So my mom is very accepting, which is good. So like, it was just like as easy as having a conversation with her. But again, my cannabis closet and like having to come out publicly about using cannabis and having my page, my Instagram page. When you sign up an Instagram page, they want you to have a business account if you want to like look at your stats and stuff like that. And you have to connect that with Facebook. So I connected my Instagram and my Facebook. And unfortunately, my stepmom started seeing some of my posts and stuff. And then she forwarded it to my dad, who forwarded it to my grandma, who emailed me and said, get that blah, blah, blah off Facebook.
Oh my, and you hadn't even seen it at this time. Oh.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad. My one side of the family, my dad's side of the family is like kind of don't talk about it kind of thing. Okay. Like they're not very accepting about it. And my dad is always like, you and your pot stuff or whatever. And it's like, that's exactly what I'm advocating against like the idea, the pot stuff and being like a dirty pothead, you know, like that's
so tiring though. You're like, because it's only thing that he says. It's not that he actually means that you're a pothead. I mean, he probably doesn't even really know what that means. Do you see what I mean? So it's just something that people like throw out of their mouths, you know, just to have, I don't know, like, I don't accept pothead. About okay, but what else? Like, why don't you like it? Tell me exactly why.
And the thing is like we were talking a lot about the couch and like being on the couch, and like that can be seen as a bad thing. But like when you have anxiety or when you're going through some PTSD, to be on the couch, to be relaxed, to be in, that's a good thing, you know. And so I really want people to look at it from that perspective and realize that like for me, I use cannabis for some of my PTSD because I can get in a negative loop where I just keep thinking over and over again about the same thing. And it helps me break that loop. And then I can just relax, you know? And then, so what would you rather? Me be stuck in this PTSD loop, which can be very damaging. You know, we're talking about mental health more and more. And do you want me to be stuck there, or do you want me to be smoking some cannabis, relaxed, enjoying a TV show on the couch? So it's not always bad to look at it from the couch, you know. Sometimes it's relief that you receive like that. So I had also given my grandma on that side that's not very accepting a little cannabis leaf, and I put it in a teacup and I gave it to her, and she like, oh, this is so cute, what kind of plant is it? And then I told her it was cannabis, and she's like, get that out of my house.
Oh my gosh. So it's really just like, it's super good. I don't even know what to say. Like for her, it's really like just the thought of it, even though she thought it was super cute. As soon as she know what it was, out of my house. You see what I mean? Like, out of my house. She could have enjoyed it. Cannabis leaves are so pretty. They are so pretty. And she even liked it until she heard its name. What if you would have said hemp? It's a hemp leaf.
I've thought about that, but I don't know if it would be different or if it wouldn't be different. But I think it might be a little bit different because my grandparents eat hemp hearts in their cereal, for example, right? I think that when you tell people about hemp, then they're a lot more relaxed about it, you know? And I've even told my dad, like, you know, I'm not a cannabis distributor. I don't sell cannabis, but I do connect businesses with hemp companies. And so like I do hemp wholesale distribution. And I think that he still thinks, you know, it's not what it is, even though I've been very clear. It's like, it's hemp derived, not cannabis derived, but you know, we'll slowly get there, I think. And it's also my part of my mission and part of my job is to show that like, look, I am a high functioning stoner. I get my shit done. I have a good job. I'm a good person, and I smoke weed every day.
Good. Let's stop there. I loved it.
This was so much fun, Misha. I am so grateful for you. I really loved this. And, you know, it was funny. I'd seen your podcast on Instagram, and I was like, wouldn't it be fun if I got invited to be a guest on there? That would be so cool if I could be on the Lady Silverstone podcast. And then you asked me the week after.
No,
I love
really?
It is aligned. It was meant to be.
Yes, definitely. No, but I mean, you were also one of the first like girls that I followed in the cannabis industry. So I've been seeing you like from my start, you know, which was like last June.
Oh, that's
Your content is beautiful already. And when I saw these high teas things, I'm like, this is exactly what I want for this industry. And what this industry should be all about, you know, it should be like connecting and enjoying these things together. I'm not sitting like in the dark, being ashamed of like using. That's horrible.
Yeah. And like, we already have to smoke by ourselves. because of this, right? So let's I think that High Tea Spain is in the works for 2021. It's happening.
Yes.
And I would love you, me, Clara.
Yes.
You know, I'm sure you have a whole group of people, and that's it. It's just to bring people together, make for a really cool environment, eat some yummy little snacks.
So nice.
And
yes. Already.
Congratulations on 1 year of Lady Silverstone.
Thanks, babe.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's so fun.
I've been following your page because you have great photos, beautiful aesthetic, lots of education on your page. I really appreciate what you're doing for this industry.
Thank you so much for telling me that. It makes me really, really happy.
You do a good job. Like, I'm always like, how did she get that cannabis leaf to look so beautiful like this? Wow, I love your energy. I love it so much. Oh,
babe, you too. I'm so happy that we talked.
Me too. I'm really happy that we connected. Very grateful for you having me on the podcast, and I can't wait to tell the High Vibe tribe that we did it today.
Yes. It was so nice talking to you, and I hope we can do it again as well. It would be nice to have you back on the podcast, maybe talking about something more specific. That would be really fun.
Yeah,
let's.
Awesome. Let's do that.
Yeah, awesome, babe. Have a really good day, and lots of love from Spain.
Oh, thank you. I'm sending you guys my high vibes. So have a great one. And I'm so appreciative for you.
Yes. Mwah. Bye, babe.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to my social channels and rate this podcast. And if you would like to support me a little bit extra, it would really mean the world to me. So check out my Patreon profile that I linked in the episode description. It's all thanks to your support that I can continue talking, writing, recording, and making more cannabis content for you and our amazing community. Have an awesome day and lots of love.